But football's become soft like our country has become soft.
And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
You know, guys, there are days where you know that the history of the human species will change forever. 65 million years ago, an asteroid wiped out the dinosaurs. Christmas Eve, the year 0, the baby Jesus is born. 1989, Patrick Swayze stars in Roadhouse. Today, September 5th, 2017, the first ever NFL podcast on Barstool will change humankind forever, and for the better. I'm joined, as I will be every week during the football season, with Barstool legend and national treasure, Pat McAfee. What's going on, Pat?
Jerry, I want to let you know, today is a gigantic day, and I am so honored to not only share the microphone and share a little TV screen here with you, but to share brains and opinions on NFL matters with a living legend from the New England area, Jerry Thornton, and this next guy that's about to be introduced. This is a dream come true. I'm lucky to be here. Thanks for having me on Laces Out.
And here it is. That gentleman is 11-year NFL veteran, Super Bowl champion, podcaster in his own right, and America's sweetheart, AJ Hawk. Welcome. Is this the first time you've been on a Barstool podcast?
I think I went on PMT right when they were just early on. I've had those guys on. I had Portnoy on my own a while back. So, yeah, but it's really my first official Barstool situation. So glad to be here with you, Jerry. I know you're the one driving the boat, and the quad father over there in Indianapolis really holding down the fort.
Respect. I appreciate that. Now, AJ, Jerry, you know what? You've been waiting for this since February 6th. Football season is here, and there's no better way to get closer to the game you love than with DraftKings, 1 week fantasy football. You ever heard of it, Jerry?
I have partaken a time or two, yes.
Well, you need to do it more often. Let me tell you why. To celebrate, DraftKings is hosting a $100,000 contest this Sunday that is totally free to enter. AJ, it is free. Why would you not enter, AJ?
I don't know. It sounds too good to be true, Patrick.
Oh, a lot of things sound too good to be true. General Tso's chicken is one of those things. Chicken nuggets is another thing. There's a lot of things that are too good to be true. And DraftKings is another thing. If you draft the perfect lineup this Sunday in the free contest that is completely free to enter, you could win $1 billion. What was that?
I missed my mark, Pat. My bad.
All right, take a lap, Hawk.
AJ,
you know
AJ, me and Belichick could do push-ups in the lap.
AJ, if you draft the perfect lineup this Sunday in the free $100,000 contest at DraftKings.com, you could win $1 billion. Wow, you guys did well. With DraftKings, there are many ways to play. Choose between public contests with big cash prizes or private contests where you can talk shit against a group of your friends. DraftKings also has beginner and casual contests where you'll play against people of similar skill level. Hear that, Jerry? You don't have to go into a linebacker drill with AJ Hawk. You get other old white guys in your level, your particular skill level. You're not getting thrown in the deep end, Jerry. That's what DraftKings is doing. You feel good about it?
Oh, yeah. Listen, a few years ago, DraftKings connected me with these two guys, brothers, that won $1 million in a weekend.
Wow.
And they were wicked cool guys, like exactly the kind of guys you root for. They won $1 million at DraftKings. This is how much?
$1 billion. And I'm going to have to get used to the wicked line right there. That just came out of nowhere, AJ. You hear that from the clouds. Wicked right there.
I did. Jerry, I thought you they beat that out of you. Are you still holding on strong?
Oh, listen, I'm always from Boston, man. I'm not going to change. Don't let this perfect diction fool you. My non-regional dialect, I know, is completely spot on. But yes, I am not just from Boston. I am of Boston. I'm sorry to tell you guys.
Drinking out of a Star Wars cup, dropping the bomb. You know, the best part is you get to draft a new team each week without any commitment. So get to DraftKings.com now and use promo code HIKE to play in DraftKings free contest with $100,000 in total prizes this Sunday. And if you draft the perfect lineup, you could win $1 billion. You guys are nailing it. That's promo code HIKE to play for your shot to win $1 billion this Sunday. The contest is totally free to enter. Why wouldn't you try it? DraftKings, the game inside the game. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Now listen, let's get back to it, Jerry.
Please. You guys, this occurred to me over the weekend. Hope you guys all had a good Labor Day weekend. Hope everybody did no labor this weekend, if at all possible. It's the last Sunday we're going to have without pro football until the beginning of February. And I couldn't be more stoked. But, this is a big thing for me. But it's a weird kind of bittersweet time because, I had to close up the pool this weekend. I put on friggin' jeans for the first time since, May. And it hit me that this must be totally banana land for you two guys. Because this is, for each of you, right, your first fall where you're not getting ready for training camp. You're not about to kick off a season since what, middle school, since Pop Warner?
For me, it felt like a vacation, actually. Not getting OTAs was the thing I was very happy to miss. So OTAs is the early thing that comes back. It's April, you got to get ready, and it's just bullshit time, passing time until something matters. Then training camp. For me, rest in peace to the summer, close down the pool. The weather's starting to change a little bit. The leaves are starting to turn. And be honest, I am just so excited for football season. The first time where I don't have to worry about the bullshit on whether or not we win or lose. If a good guy in special teams get cut because the GM doesn't like him and my life is going to take a drastic change to misery. I'm just excited for kind of the free will, gambling on games, fantasy football, watch some foosball. I'm excited for it. I'm assuming AJ is feeling the same exact way.
Oh, 100%. Jerry mentioned it in his beautiful intro. I was lucky enough to get 11 years. I never thought I'd make it that long, but that's a question. I'm sure, Pat, you get this, but you kind of had more of a public, abrupt retirement. Mine, I think people weren't shocked by it or anything. Yours kind of came out of nowhere. You're still performing at such a high level. But do people come up to you, Pat, and look at you like someone's dying, oh, how are you doing? How do you handle this?
Yeah, I'm assuming you're getting those same types of questions. People are like, don't you miss the game, man? I'm like, yeah, but I'm watching. I'm watching. I feel okay, Well, don't you miss the grind and the practice? No, man, not really. I don't really miss it that much. I'm going to be honest.
People told me that, yeah. When August 1st hits, and they're like, oh, man, I bet you're super sad. Are you dying? You're not going to training camp? And I was like, just think about that question you just asked me, buddy. You can't be serious. You really can't. But that's the thing. No, I'm super lucky, man. I'd love to play as long as I can. But I don't know about you, but Pat, I'm way more of a football fan now than I was while I was playing. When I was playing, you'd watch who you were gonna play against. I'd watch the games on TV when my buddies were playing, I guess. But I didn't watch a whole lot of football. Now, I can't get enough. I want to watch everything, and I'm calling some college games for Fox. So I'm a fan of the college game forever. But now I want to watch. I'm really excited to watch these NFL games.
Jerry,
though mentally you just still feel like it's time for you to get ready to put on the pads and the helmets to quote a Kenny Chesney song.
AJ, great little self-promotion there. Last sentence that you're doing games on Fox. We get it. You're a superstar. Hey, AJ's calling games on Fox. Jerry.
I wouldn't say Fox. FS1, FS2. Don't say Big Fox. That's it. It's streaming, some on the internet, some regional. Who knows? But I just did the Baylor Liberty game this past weekend, and the Liberty somehow beat them. They were a 31-point dog.
Wow, I probably bet on that too. I probably lost so much fucking money. That's my new thing. I'm terrible. But I did get antsy, Jerry, to answer your question. I got antsy to get back in shape almost. I was kind of getting fat almost. At the end of summer, I was relaxing. And normally this is when I got to do every cheat diet I can find. I even get one of those anal detox things to lose some weight. So when I check in, it looks like I've attempted to do something. So I did get a little antsy. You're right there.
But is it, are you just still hardwired for this being football season? I'll give you a weird little example. A couple of weeks ago, I'm in a friggin' office supply store. Yes, my life is lit. You would think a man of my bearing would have someone go buy supplies from.
Yeah.
I'm a man of the people. And I walk in there and I smell that notebook smell and the 3-ring binders and the pencils, and immediately I'm 10 years old and my mom is taking me back to school shopping. I can't unlearn that's what this time of year is for me. And God knows I didn't put as much time into school as you guys did into football through college and long pro careers.
I think I get those things, Jerry, but it's the stuff that sucks about football that I get reminded of. If you're up early in the morning, it reminds me of when you have to put on the pads and go out and practice at 6 a.m., as soon as the sun rises, you're out there killing each other. I get that feeling. Or late at night, if you're out and it's a weird, humid summer night, it feels like, oh, man, you got to wake up at 4:30 and get out there. My high school program, we worked out all summer at 5:15 in the morning and had 3 days and all that stuff. So I get nightmares of that stuff, which I'm glad I did it, but I don't know how I got through it. But those are the things that I get reminded of just from like smelling cut grass. It's never like, oh man, this smells like touchdowns and wins and victories here. Like I don't ever get that smell.
That's funny you say that, because when I get drunk or intoxicated or inebriated on any drug and I get a little wobble and my knee locks up, I think like, oh, that's how I feel after most games right there. When my knee, I can't bend my fucking knee. I can't walk straight. Life sucks a little bit. That's kind of the only, you're right. It's only the negative memories that really come through, whether it's a smell of something or a feel of something. It's only the negative memories that come. And that's such a fucking sad existence now that I think about it. Jerry, it's a sad question you just brought up right there.
Yeah, well, I'm going to expect that same level of dedication week in and week out right here. And the way this is going to work, guys, the plan going forward is that every Sunday night, the three of us will hook up and we'll just talk about the weekend's events, because we'll talk about Thursday too or whatever. This will drop Monday morning, and I'm stoked to do it. I can't wait to pick you guys' brains. I can't wait to bellyache about the friggin' announcers and what officials
You're about to say
I
the
hate
Patriots.
that you guys like or whatever. It's
Jerry,
going to be
going back to that shutting down your pool. Was that an above ground or in-ground pool?
Wow.
Oh, I've got the total white trash above ground pool.
Oh,
Not
you do?
issue.
Did you
Yeah,
really go all out and build like the deck around it?
No.
How about the
No,
trampoline?
it's
You have the
backyard.
trampoline?
It's basically slightly bigger than a hot tub. We just needed something. We have no neighbors, so I don't care that they're seeing my pasty white, gut out there. It's family only. So, yeah.
Do you have a
Close the whole thing
trampoline?
up.
Do you have a trampoline next to it?
No, you climb up in the ladder and you friggin' you float. And every float I have has a cup holder. It's been my sanctuary. It got me through this friggin' summer. Believe me.
I'm just thinking of Jerry floating around in an above ground pool up there, just kind of having his little day, fully nude. Neighbors just staring at little Jerry like, what's going on, bub? Is football season not starting back up yet? This is a nightmare.
Oh, and believe me, I know every time I take my shirt off, I lower property values. But again, it's pretty isolated back there. We specifically bought a house that's just surrounded by woods because I think I kind of hate everybody. So that's not a problem. I got no neighbors.
Hey, speaking of hating everybody, you don't hate one person. And I watched a special the other night, Do Your Job or whatever, part 2. But that was amazing. I watched that and I was as a guy who was in the NFL, it may be I didn't hear a lot of things because I wasn't in the offense and defensive meetings all the time, obviously. But listening to the way Belichick and all those motherfuckers talked and the way they're breaking things down and stuff, I was like, yep, it makes sense why they're so fucking good. It was unbelievable. Did you watch it, AJ?
I've not all of it, but I've seen a lot of the clips, and I got to watch most of it. But you're right, 100%. They can do stuff there that nobody else can kind of get away with because they have Belichick and Tom Brady. It's like the perfect storm of two guys. I feel that, I don't know, it's just a weird deal. They win so much that it's like, I don't know, Pat. Like, can you see that kind of stuff? Like the level of detail and how they go about things. Dude, it just doesn't happen many places.
But because if you have a guy who's going to beat you down and make you do like every film study and you don't win, like as soon as that guy keeps saying anything, you're like, fuck you, dude. Like this ain't working.
You're gone.
Yeah, like this isn't
when you
working.
win, you could get away with anything.
But when you win, people are like, oh, let's go all in. That's why I think every assistant coach of his that goes somewhere, a lot of them fail as head coaches because they're trying to put in the Patriot way, which is incredible, by the way. That do your job thing was amazing. I think they try to instill that immediately, and it's not received the same way because they don't have the prestige of the Belichick or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. And believe me, I have no intention of turning this podcast into, me just getting my Patriots, fanboy.
But they're fucking good. You should talk about it. They are a good team, though. And after that do your job thing, I'm mind blown by what they do up there. It was incredible.
Sure. And that's why I called it two-tissue Patriots porn, because they are this scary shadow government that doesn't tell you anything. They're North Korea, and once in a while, when you get a peek behind the office door and what's going on in there, it's friggin' fascinating. They've let a couple of guys write books where they had some access, but you're never going to see them like on Hard Knocks or something like that. So when you get that view, it's friggin' gold. I mean, they did a do your job after the Seattle Super Bowl, and there's a guy who works for Belichick who's been in both shows. His name is Ernie Adams. I didn't think he existed. Like, I was convinced he was a figment of his imagination, like Tyler Durden.
That guy looks exactly like you think he's going to look, too. With that mustache
absolutely.
and the whole thing.
Jerry, what happens if they don't win that Super Bowl, though? What happens to that footage?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they don't do the show. I mean, that's part of being North Korea is when things go bad, you get completely shut out. But when things are good, they want you to know, hey, listen, we worked on the Malcolm Butler interception play in practice, and here's the footage of us coming up with that very scheme and coaching him on how to jump that interception. And this one had things like
the 2-point conversions. They're working on extra 2-point conversions a couple weeks before the game that they knew they were going to need, and all this. The Julio Jones cutting off his right foot instead of his left foot. They only saw it on film, and they were breaking down everything. It was like, holy shit! There's no wonder.
Oh yeah. And when Tevin, the running back there, when he gets hurt, and he's the guy who's big on blitz pickups, so what do they do?
Freeman,
they say, you know what? Let's split a guy out wide and see if we can't get at Devontae Freeman, who right now I am closer to McAfee than he was to Dante Hightower on that blitz. He just completely fanned on it, and that was a tendency. And I know that it doesn't always work out, but that's what fascinates me about that team is just the inner workings and the mechanics, because it's not all one guy, but it's him coaching up his assistants on how to coach up themselves, I guess.
Yeah. So Jerry, I don't think Pat and I are old enough to remember when the Patriots were not good and they were not the Patriots. Were you still a big Patriots ball washer back in the day when they weren't good?
Okay, I wrote a book about this, AJ. Shameless plug, part 2.
Just setting you up.
From Darkness to Dynasty, about growing up when the Patriots they weren't just bad, they were the laughing stocks of all the sports. They had the worst stadium, they had the worst coaching situations. Irving Fryer was the number 1 pick. He once crashed his car leaving the stadium at halftime. He just decided 30 minutes of football was plenty for one day, and he crashed his car.
Hey, you know what? This is a good first half, guys. I'm going to take my first round money here, my car. I'm going to get the fuck out. I'll be back the fourth quarter. About this third quarter.
And it's like one of 100 stupid things that he did, and I laughed about it, but they were that team. They were the shaggy dog that the kid falls in love with. He's got mange, and he's missing a leg, and his eyes are 2 different colors and shit. So if I'm a Patriots honk, it's because this is such the opposite of what it used to be. They went from the worst franchise in the world and almost moved like 1,000 times to now they're the gold standard. So yeah, again, I don't want them to co-opt this podcast, but there's a reason why I am such a masshole when it comes to them.
A lot of pride. AJ, were the Packers like that?
No, like the Packers have like that culture that's set. Like guys kind of get in line, I feel like, but it's more, I don't know, I guess it's outwardly fun and like.
Aaron Rodgers seems like a real chill guy. It seems like
and he loves to have fun. I can see a screen of myself behind you, Pat. It's like Inception.
Hey, there you are, buddy. We got a little Skype going on for those of you that can't see. We got a Skype going on so we can see each other's face. AJ Hawk is a very attractive human being. That's all you need to know. But anyways,
good decision to put him on the big screen and not me.
Well, you'll be there in a second. There you are. Look, there you are.
But it's kind of like that, Pat, for real. The Packers. I mean, it's honestly because when you have a stud quarterback like a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, everyone kind of falls in line because you understand what you have. Okay, this is our meal ticket. Like if I don't get in line and jump on board with this culture, I'm going to be out of here, and I don't know where I'm going. And if you don't have a stud quarterback, you cannot win the Super Bowl. That's a fact, I believe. So yeah, they're real good about it, but they're good about, like, I don't think they're as secretive. You know what your schedule, you know what's happening in the future down there. So like they do a good job of balancing out of coming to work, doing everything right, but then you can still like be yourself. And McCarthy, he always says, like, it's your guys' team. I want you guys to run the team. It's a player's team. I'm not going to be out there on the field at all. So I want you to do your thing.
He's a good Pittsburgh guy.
Thank you for perfectly setting up what I wanted to talk about. Because I mean, before we talk about the season, I kind of want to get into the off season, because I'm a big believer that the number 1 sport in America is pro football. The number 2 most popular sport is the pro football off season. And I have a general philosophical question coming out of the fact that right now the following guys are scheduled to start at quarterback in the NFL this Sunday.
Yikes.
Josh McCown.
Rich.
Scott Tolzien.
Rich.
Trevor Siemian. Nathan Peterman, rookie, kid out of Pitt. Blake the Immortal Bortles. Jay Cutler. And the two highest paid football players in the world are Matthew Stafford and Kirk Cousins. Let me say that again so that we can all wrap our brains around that and let it sink in. Matthew Stafford and Kirk Cousins. Why can't teams develop quarterbacks? Why are there only...
What are you talking about, Jerry?
I don't know.
You're born a quarterback. You can't develop a quarterback. You're born that way.
And I think the Stafford...
Lady Gaga.
And I think... that is a good song, actually. Good reference there, Jerry. Lady Gaga reference. I think Matthew Stafford, though, is a good quarterback. Like, I think Detroit is stuck there. Detroit is stuck because you can't risk giving him up to catch a couple terrible failures that are coming out of college. So you have to pay him, and he just came next in line. That's the way it's going to go. Whatever quarterback is next in line is going to be the highest paid guy forever, blah, 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 because that's how the salary cap is going. The CBA worked a new deal where really it's a bigger salary cap, which means that the high-end guys get more money. Low-end guys are going to get cut for rookies, so they have a lower minimum salary cap or minimum salary. But I think Matthew Stafford's a great quarterback. Like I think that's the way it's going to go in Detroit. They had no other option. I don't think there's a single other option.
I think he's good. I think he's well above average. Great, highest paid in history when Aaron Rodgers is still drawing a breath, when there's Drew Brees, when there's a guy in New England. More to the point, like the more they make rules favorable to quarterbacks, it seems like it's narrowed the field to where you have to, as AJ said, have an elite quarterback. Not good, but elite, or else you have no shot at winning. And it seems like the easier they make quarterbacking by the rules, the less good quarterbacks they develop. It's like this weird catch-22.
Would you say Russell Wilson's elite?
Yeah, I'm a big Russell Wilson fan. I think he's in that top tier, that top 5. I think he belongs in there.
Okay, got you. So
who's the better options, though, Jerry? What should have Detroit done if they can afford to pay him? It's that he gives them the best chance to actually go to the playoffs and have a run at the Super Bowl, regardless of what, if you think he's in that top tier.
And some other team would have paid him too. Some other team would have paid him immediately on the spot.
And then you're like all these teams in the league right now, literally searching for a starting quarterback, and they don't grow on trees, man. They're tough to find. You can't bank either on Sam Darnold coming out in the draft next year. You can't. No great quarterbacks become free agents either. Peyton Manning's the only one because he was hurt and his arm didn't work anymore.
And then you're trading for Brock Osweilers. Like that's the desperation for a good quarterback. Like that's, if they don't sign him, somebody else does, and Detroit could be, for 10 years they could suck without him.
And Denver last year was the outlier that disproved what's become a fact since really 2000, where if you don't have a top quarterback in the league, you have no shot. It's Manning was the first struggling quarterback to win since Baltimore carried Trent Dilfer, was feted to the corpse of Trent Dilfer and won a Super Bowl. I don't think it's possible to do what Denver did again. So it's almost like there are maybe a half a dozen teams every year with a legitimate shot to win. Is that too small?
Oh, half a dozen. I think you're about right. Yeah,
I think 6 to 8 is probably, depending on health and injuries. I think that's kind of the big thing right there, is who can stay healthy at key positions. And sometimes if you get a good guy that's hurt, like, you're going to shit your underpants. You don't want to have bad underpants. You don't want to have bad underwear. You know what I mean?
No, it'd be terrible. Think about that, Pat. I mean, honestly, over the years, Pat, we try to upgrade so many things. Jerry, listen to me. Cars, phones, TVs, which I don't think you had growing up. But when was the last time you upgraded your underwear, Jerry? When you upgraded that old jock strap you've been wearing? I want to tell you about Tommy John. Not the surgery, not your elbow, but the revolutionary men's underwear brand that redefined comfort for guys everywhere, myself included. Hopefully Jerry soon. I don't know if he's on board or not. What do you think, Jerry?
I'm doing the Tommy John thing, and it changed my life.
Oh, good for the sack.
That's good to know. Each pair is crafted from ultra lightweight fabric for maximum breathability. The legs never ride up. The waistband never rolls down. Pat, when you were swimming through that canal,
allegedly,
if you would have had Tommy John's on, allegedly, in that night when who knows, if you might have got roofied, do you think you would have got away?
I think if I had the Tommy Johns on, I know that I wouldn't have got arrested, because only magical things happen whenever you put Tommy Johns over your quads if you're the quad father, and tuck your little kit and caboodle into an air-conditioned unit like Tommy John has for you and your kids.
That's right. Tommy John's patented 21st century design even makes it impossible to get a wedgie.
I can confirm that, by the way.
Yeah.
And no matter how much the bullies try, I've spent my last day hanging from a hook in the locker room. Thank you, Tommy John.
Attaboy.
Look, I've tried all kinds of different underwear brands trying to get the perfect fit. Tommy John is simply the best there is, and they've got a lot more unbelievable underwear. Their undershirts go on like second skin and never come untucked. How about that?
That's unbelievable. That's science, like working in mysterious ways. Seriously.
NASA stuff, yes.
It's made of a space-age polymer.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Even their socks are engineered to stay up all day, Jared. So you can wear those mid-calves and stroll around after church on Sundays with your son when he makes you spend that you time together.
With my sandals.
That hour together that Jerry is forced to spend with his child.
When you're trying to check the scores in your Catholic church before the priest smacks you, Jer.
Yikes.
Guilty. Guilty as charged.
All right.
Yeah.
And all Tommy John underwear is backed by the best pair you'll ever wear, where it's a free guarantee. Tommy John, no adjustment needed. Hurry to TommyJohn.com/laces to experience life-changing comfort and get 20% off at your first order. That's TommyJohn.com/laces for 20% off. TommyJohn.com/laces.
Good work.
Back to you, Jared.
Well done. You know, fellas, we were talking about quarterbacks that are playing Sunday.
Yeah.
And there's one who dominated the news cycle all summer long because he's not playing. Where do you guys come down on Colin Kaepernick?
I'll speak on that first, AJ, if you don't mind. So I 100% respect everything he did, right? I mean, the same freedom of speech to be pro-America or everything that's going on is the same freedom of speech against America. Do I think that is the obvious reason why he is not being signed? I don't think that is the direct reason, but I think all that came with it is the reason why. So all of the media attention, all of the protesting, everything. It's much like the Tim Tebow situation whenever he was in Philadelphia in New England and he was going to be a backup and the entire media situation popped up. Would Colin Kaepernick start in some places? I assume yes. I have no idea how good he is as a player. I've not seen him work out. But I do know that if you're a team that's going to use him as a backup, it's hard enough to win in the game without a massive distraction, which is all the media and hoopla and bullshit every single day, wearing cops and pig outfits on your socks and shit like that. Like, that's a big distraction. I don't think he's worth it, but if he's going to be your starter, I think you bring him in. But if he's a backup, you keep him out. Right, AJ? Do you feel the same way, AJ?
I mean, honestly, I've said that in like 10 different interviews I've done over the last 3 or 4 weeks. I feel like if it was the Colin Kaepernick of 2012, when, believe me, he knocked us out of the playoffs a few times. When we kind of put him on the map when I was in Green Bay. He was a stud. He was unbelievable. He's proven that for some reason he's not that guy anymore on the field. So you're right. You're not going to bring in a backup that every single guy in that locker room, all 52 other guys, are going to have to answer questions about. Coaches, owners, GMs just don't want to have to deal with that. And you're right, Pat. Like, regardless, yeah, I would never sit down or take a knee for the anthem. I don't live these guys' lives. We're all our own separate guys. So I can't, whatever. I understand. I respect the fact that we can do that. I think it's great that you can do something like that and you don't get shot. That's why it's America.
Yep.
But you're just not going to deal with that when he's your backup quarterback. Now, if Tom Brady took a knee, it's a different story. Like, he's going to have a job.
Be who you can afford to be is a quote. Be who you can afford to be is everything. And right now, people are thinking Kaepernick's a backup, and you can't just be a completely potential distraction. But I do think he's doing incredible things. He's brought a lot of spotlight and attention to some issues. I think he's doing some incredible things. Hopefully things will change in a positive manner with that. But in a business that winning saves everything, I don't know why you'd want to bring in a distraction and help lose. I don't know why.
But Pat, don't you think, Jerry, I think I wish he would come out and speak. That's all we need. Just come out and kind of tell your story. Tell us why you're doing things, because it's up to everyone like us to speculate exactly what his thoughts are and what his beliefs are about. Not only that there's all the rumors that he wants $10 million a year or whatever, which he's not going to get. Like, just come out and tell us why you did. I don't know. Do a sit down with Jerry Thornton and tell your story. Get it all out there.
Yeah, there's been a ton of hypocrisy coming from the NFL, just in terms of all the anonymous sources, that he wants too much money. Remember, there was the whisper campaign about his crazy diet. There's been, but it's really all comes down to the distraction. If he was Aaron Rodgers, if he was Cam Newton coming off an MVP season, yeah, teams would put up with whatever. And look, full disclosure, I'm not a fan of protesting the national anthem. That's important to me, but I'm an extremist too. Like, I get mad if people don't put their hands up during Party in the USA. So don't go by me.
So I put my hands up to playing my song, Butterfly Fly Away.
Nod in my head like that. Yeah. I want you to nod your head like yeah and move your hips like yeah. Again, I'm an extremist when it comes to
forward and back, Jerry.
Just lame patriotism or whatever. But real patriotism, the anthem, it's all right. It's sacred to me. And if he wants to start a dialogue by sitting down during something that's important to me, well, it's not the best way to do it. Having said that, he's got the right to, but nobody has to employ you because you.
The NFL is a privilege,
yourself.
Not a right. It's a privilege, not a right. Like, it's just because it's the highest league of a sport doesn't mean if you're one of the best players on earth, you automatically get in. It's a privilege to be in the NFL, not a right to be in the NFL. I'm not for when I see the flag and hear the national anthem. I've been on a USO trip. I have a lot of friends in the military. I think of the guys who have been left behind, right? What people are fighting for. That's the America that a lot of people see. And the average white American, whenever they see somebody kneeling for that, they think of a friend of theirs or a family member of theirs who's in the military who has died for that flag, which is why it's such a distraction whenever it becomes. That's why it's such a media hot point, because they know both sides. For one side, it's very gigantic activism, which is something that is needed and something that they're very strong. And on the other side, it's very disrespectful to everything that they love. That's why it's such a hot topic and a trigger topic. That's why the distraction is gigantic. I mean, it's the First Amendment, freedom of speech, do what you got to do, but the distraction is real. And to act like it's not, I think, is even more ridiculous. Whenever, like, why aren't they signing them? Like, acting like wouldn't be a distraction is absurd. Absolutely absurd.
Yeah, and I took exception, and I wrote this on Barstool, to the protesters showing up to the NFL offices, because you're barking up the wrong tree there, Sport.
Roger Goodell ain't signing anybody.
Right. They're not the ones that are telling him he can't play. Like, take your beef, if you have one, to, I don't know, John Elway, who screwed up by trading up to get Paxton Lynch and doesn't have a viable quarterback option, and just brought back Brock Osweiler.
Dude, what a genius
but
move.
Won't come on record and say, well, I don't want Kaepernick because he's not worth the circus.
What about what John Elway did? Let's talk about that. He's paying a guy $775,000 of the $16 million contract that he worked.
It's insane.
Is that not genius?
And a guy that they don't like. They wanted nothing to do with him. And Osweiler wanted nothing to do with that franchise. He didn't even go to, like, the team ring celebration. He had already moved on to Houston and wanted to never look back. And now he's come crawling back with this giant albatross of a contract being paid by Cleveland, right?
He's getting $16 million, $775,000. John Elway, he worked a deal where he gets some car dealerships in Denver and shit, so he'll be rich forever. But this move here puts him in GM folklore forever. Forever. He worked a $16 million deal, and now he's only paying the guy $775,000, making the Cleveland Browns pay him. Like, what a fucking draft day movie move that's absurd. That's fucking absurd, AJ. Absurd.
Well, it's great for Brock, too. Brock is at some point, he's going to be their starter, and Brock could, think if he steps in and plays well.
He won't.
It's great for everybody.
He won't.
You never know.
AJ.
Hey,
he beat us.
Vance Joseph. Hey, listen, the Vance Joseph, the head coach, who actually I was with, he was a DB coach in Cincinnati with me. I love the dude. They asked him, I guess, just a day or so ago, how'd Brock look? He said, he looks fine. He looked tall and fine. That was his comment.
He beat us Brock Osweiler beat us a couple of times. Those were tough trips home. Those were tough flights.
What if he does go there? What if he plays well, though, honestly? He's like the savior.
All of a sudden, you're a hero again.
Yeah. Like, he really is. He's like, oh my gosh, what? And then all of a sudden, now I live in Ohio, so I hear the Brown stuff. So now then the Cleveland people, it's just gonna be another thing added to the list of what Cleveland has done wrong.
We let go of the Brockett ship. We paid him $15.25 million. Now he's back in Denver making $775,000, leading them to a fucking AFC Championship game. Cleveland would be so upset.
And if you're Brock Osweiler, do you live in shame, or do you just say, you know what, I'm sleeping on a pile of gold like Smaug from The Hobbit? But at some point, don't you want to not be the guy that
what are you going to turn him
traded
down? Hey, we'll pay you 17. No, I won't take it. I'm good. Give me 4.
No, but I know he could just do nothing. like sit on the sidelines, inhaling a can of Pringles.
He's making
and
$16
whatever.
million.
He's still going to make the money, but
just this
you
year
now are known as a guy who was just a placeholder so the Cleveland Browns could hit the salary cap floor. I mean, it's going to be hard to walk through life, even while you're lighting Cubans with $100 bills. That's going to be a tough.
What if the Broncos get hot and they go to the Super Bowl somehow? I mean, they're not going to get past the Patriots, but what if the Broncos get hot? He wins the Super Bowl out of this thing. So now all of a sudden he's a backup quarterback making $16 million who won another Super Bowl.
I guess I would take it, but then I've never made Brock Osweiler money.
Jerry, you're getting your dick sucked forever with those numbers. If you're the rocket ship is living the high life for a long time if that happens.
In the above ground pool, Jared. Don't
with the trampoline.
Yes, I have a white trash above ground pool. Yes, I live in a raised ranch house in a suburb of Boston, but I am living like a king at night, fellas.
Oh, yeah?
I recently got a Casper mattress.
Oh, love those.
Absolutely life-changing. I'm not a big air conditioner guy. I tend to not, in the past, I've not so much fallen asleep at night as passed out.
Oh, yeah.
And you wake up and it's hot. You get that your body core is up to the temperature of magma because you had too much to drink or whatever.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Wow.
Now I sleep like a friggin' baby. And the Casper mattress is it's got 2 high-tech foams. Guarantee you have a great night sleeping cool, comfortable, fully supported every night. Now get this. When this thing got delivered, I figured there'd be like a giant furniture truck and 2 guys who look like Wreck-It Ralph coming up my back step. No, this thing comes in a box like the size of smaller than like a water cooler. And you just unpack it and you unroll this thing. And when you carefully unpack it, it just turns into a queen-size mattress. It was the most amazing friggin' thing I've ever witnessed. Like, forget phones and cars and technology. They've done more things with mattresses in the last couple of years than any other technology we own. Now, here's the deal. You can try it risk-free for 100 nights in your own home. If you don't love Casper, they'll come pick it up and refund you everything.
Wow.
No questions asked.
Unbelievable deal.
Yep. Now you could go to a store and just lay down there and fully clothed like an idiot while everyone's staring at you, or you can sleep in one of these every single night for 100 nights and then decide, you know what, it's not good enough. Guess what? You won't. They will never return that. So from its breakthrough design and superior quality to its packaging, 100-night in-home trial, it's no wonder Casper was named one of Fast Company's 50 most innovative brands of 2017. You read a lot of Fast Company?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to read, right, AJ? We were just talking about that.
Yeah, it's where I buy like my $50,000 German Shepherds they sell. Is that the right magazine or is that a DuPont Registry, I think? My bad, Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a laugh on every page. So sleep cool and comfortable every night like I do. Get a Casper. By the way, the Irish Rose loves this. And imagine climbing into bed with this every night. So try 100 nights with free shipping and returns. Go to Casper.com and use code LACES for $50 to the purchase of your mattress. That's Casper.com, LACES, and get $50 towards the purchase of your mattress. Casper.com. Terms and conditions apply.
You know what? Unpackaging that thing is almost half the fun, Jerry. That bed.
I had no idea what was going to happen. I thought it was like the size of a sleeping bag, and then just
slinky.
A mattress.
It comes out slinky. Comes popping out. It's awesome. Jesus.
All right.
I just thought about you.
Who's not going to be playing in Week 1? Probably Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh yeah.
Now, is this the biggest bag job since? And I don't want to bring up the D word. We talk about it a lot in Boston. It's still got since Deflategate. And Patriots fans are sitting here loving this. Not because we want Ezekiel Elliott to be suspended per se. It's just it's exposing the monster that is Roger Goodell to the world. Jerry Jones helped create this monster, and like Frankenstein, he is having his own castle destroyed by him, and it's delicious. Everybody drink it in. This is what you've done with this guy because you gave him absolute power. He is a cat-stroking villain of the highest order.
So is it everybody in New England just outright hates Roger Goodell? Outright.
I hate Roger Goodell so much. I would unplug his life support to charge my phone.
Yikes. Yikes, AJ. Did you hear that?
How many shirts and towels are they distributing
70,000.
Thursday, Jerry?
70,000.
70,000 towels.
Wow.
And I'm getting bombarded with emails from people sending me Facebook messages. How can I get some? I want to distribute them. I don't know, but there's a plan in place, and that place is going to be a sea of turquoise towels.
So you think Dallas is going to feel the same exact way that New England feels? Because now you're talking about two of the most loyal fan bases, right? The New England fan base and the Dallas fan base, both very much openly hating. Not that Roger Goodell's loved everywhere else. I mean, the only time he ever goes on TV, he's got kids around him, he's got firefighters around him, he's got cops around him. He's never going to be seen alone in public, especially except for the draft when it's just a miserable fest. But if the Dallas Cowboy fan base hates him and the New England fan base hates him, and Jerry Jones is working the new deal, right? They said Jerry Jones is direct negotiation for his long-term deal. Roger Goodell, do you think he's going to last for another 10 years in the NFL or what?
Oh, positively.
How can he? I mean, it seems like he's untouchable now. I feel like through the whole Tom Brady situation, that was like the final straw to where I think he's untouchable. He honestly is.
Because Tom Brady's the best player in the league, in the biggest league, and right at a year later suspended him. Not even dragged it out. Like, didn't even just let it disappear, which can happen nowadays with media. You can just make shit disappear. You just kind of it gets swallowed up. But that Tom Brady thing, he kept it around for a whole fucking year and then to go win the Super Bowl. Just a big dick in the butt of everybody. I mean, it's incredible what happened.
And it's Saints fans hate him too. Again, they came for the Saints, and I did not speak up, for I was not a Saint. They came for the Patriots. I did not speak up because I was not a Patriot. By the time they came for me, there was no one left to speak up. He's been given absolute rule, and the villain that he is, he's going to abuse it every chance he gets. The Cowboys are just the latest victim, but that's what they said. Here's a
why?
Rule.
Why does he abuse it, though? Why does he feel the need?
I think in the case of, say, Elliott, and I think I can speak for all of us when I say that any guy who really turns Mr. Hand into Mr. Fist towards a woman deserves 6 games at minimum.
He deserves to get his ass kicked. No guy should hit a woman. We all agree with that. All of us.
Positively.
Yep.
With Elliott, there were no charges pressed. The victim has said some things about blackmailing him and so on and so forth. He could easily get a pass, but this makes Goodell look like a tough guy. I'm drawing the line here. Well, okay, because you had a punter from the Giants. I'm sorry, kicker from the Giants. I would never say anything bad about an actual punter.
Thank you.
But Josh Brown, his wife and kids were being hidden from him by NFL security at the Pro Bowl. He got 1 game. Well, there you've got a real life example where you could put the hammer to this guy and everyone would stand up and applaud you.
Well,
you don't.
This is all because of those previous decisions, right? The Ray Rice decision was 2 games, and that video came out. Holy shit, the NFL looks terrible. This Josh Brown thing happens, comes out, all the facts come out. Holy shit, we look terrible. This was them trying to cover up for everything in the past. You think the makeup, almost a makeup rolling?
I think it's to show his credibility. Look at me. Just because there's no evidence doesn't mean I'm not going to, flex my mighty muscles and show everybody what a tough guy I am.
So New England,
I think
sorry.
it has to for its perception, regardless of how many. The Ezekiel Elliott case is so crazy and weird to where the cops didn't charge him, whatever. Then they have texts of the girl kind of blackmailing him.
And then the pictures, though.
Yeah. And then there's pictures of her with bruises, right?
Yeah, which is weird. Okay. It's wild.
Supposedly, but they've got different doctors saying, well, that's not indicative of this happening at this time. And the NFL's lawyers, the NFL has ignored the findings of their own recommendation from their research was, there shouldn't be any suspension.
Well,
and
because of previous decisions, though, they have to. I'm sure he feels like he has to err on the side of way too much punishment for things like especially domestic violence. That's one thing that everyone is 100% against. We all know that, but I think it doesn't even matter.
And Jared Fogle. By the way, we're all 100% against Jared Fogle. Everybody, right?
I think I'm going to take the. I've been consistently anti-Jared Fogle.
We're all anti-Jared.
Guilty. Are you sure he's guilty, Pat?
I'm from Indiana. My friends live in the neighborhood he was in. Whenever they were helicoptering around to scoop up all his kiddie porn, I think we're all against Jared Fogle. All right, but anyways, I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
I forgot about Jared for a while. He's been off the radar. You're right, but I think it's the perception of, regardless of how much there was against or not against Zeke Elliott, it got out there that domestic violence, Zeke Elliott was basically the face, one of the few faces of the NFL last year as the rookie. to where we perception. We can't have that out there. Roger Goodell feels like, hey, this guy, he may or may not have hit this girl, and he's playing week 1. He turned on the TV week 1, and some casual fans are watching like, wait, wasn't he caught up in some domestic violence? Like, people don't want to think that they didn't take any action.
Right. And here you've got a guy who could be the next big superstar in this league, certainly at his position. I mean, you got to be sky high on him, how he looked as a rookie, what he's going to look like with a year 2 bounce. And he's tainted forever. Now he's the guy who beats up women. Whether or not he did is still open to question, but he's tainted like that forever.
You know what's not in question? Tell me what you think, Pat. The dumbest thing the NFL does, though, is they come out and say, and they claim that, the other events, it's not a compilation of all of what has happened. You remember when he pulled the girl's shirt down?
Yeah, and he was in the bar. Some shit happened in the bar.
Somehow he allegedly knocked the dude out, and they can't find the guy, and there's no video footage, which is amazing in 2017. First off, but they tried to say like, no, none of that played any role in our decision. I'm thinking,
which makes
really?
No sense though, because like the court of law, you have to get rid of that, but the NFL doesn't have to say that.
We're not in the courtroom.
Don't have to say that. They can say like, yeah, obviously we're looking into all the other bullshit too. There seems to be a lot of bullshit around this guy. We're trying to figure it out, because then it makes them look almost okay when they suspend him. They're like, listen, there's like 5 different things going on with this guy, blah, blah, blah. But to say it's just because of one event, and then that event is scrutinized so heavily by everybody, the NFL is in a tough position. I think we can all agree that Roger Goodell's in a tough position when it comes to, you're talking about America's team. You're talking about a year after they started the No More campaign, where guys were talking about, we're not doing this anymore. Like the big emphasis is no more domestic violence. And then this comes out. I think they're in a really awkward situation there. Really.
Jerry's one of the few owners that has publicly really supported Goodell at the same time.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a very weird situation.
And believe me, I threw those words right back at him. He was 100%, in Goodell's corner when someone else was the one being victimized. And it's, there's an old expression that I may have just made up, but, if you're going to give all this power to Caesar because you like Caesar, then you're going to be giving all this power to Caligula when he comes along.
It's like way over my head.
Article 46 worked fine for Paul Tagliabue, but now it's, it's in the hands of this guy who doesn't know how to wield it.
You know what? You win the mob, you win Rome. That's all I know. And that was a PR battle that Roger Goodell was trying to battle right there, and really it's all just blown up in his face.
On my signal, unleash hell. We're just going to continue to throw gladiator quotes out for the next hour and a half, folks. No. All right. You guys, I'm happy to hear what your off-season stories are you want to talk about, but I want to bring this one up because I think it's the most under-talked about story of the spring and the summer, and that's Jim Nantz getting Phil Simms fired over a fart.
What happened?
Okay. You know that Phil Simms is gone, replaced by Tony Romo.
Yeah.
I blogged about this back months ago, where the footage of when Nantz and Simms.
Hold on. Augusta Nantz. The birds are chirping. The thing down here in Augusta. He called the Pro-Am I was in too, right? Didn't he, Vibbs? Vibbs, is he the guy that called the Pro-Am on?
Yes. Yep.
Jim Nantz. We're talking about legendary Jim Nantz.
That Jim Nantz, the preeminent broadcaster in sports today, the guy who goes from the Final Four and takes a direct flight to Augusta and does that, and has done, every third or fourth Super Bowl. They were doing Miami at Pittsburgh, the wild card game this year, and on camera, Simms farts and starts waving it into his face.
Respect.
And saying stuff like, well, what do you think about the atmosphere in the game? You think Miami's going to heat up in the second half? And Nantz walked off camera.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the next thing you know, Simms is gone, replaced by Tony Romo. I see. Everybody should know about this. I feel like that's major news, and it has barely created a ripple.
I saw the clip. I don't remember him wafting the fart into Nantz's face, but I
think
definitely
Jerry's making that up right now.
He farted 100%, and I don't know if he wafted it, but it definitely got to Nantz's nose, no question. But Jerry, I'm guessing this is just like the icing on the cake. I'm sure they had some riffs. They had some disagreements, or they didn't get along real well, and then all of a sudden the dude farts in your box when you're a legendary Jim Nantz. And he's like, "That's it. We're out of here."
I'll tell you what, I just learned a lot.
Romo retires.
I learned a lot about Nantz right there, though. I love Nantz. Now I'm like, kind of wondering if I should or not. Like,
Yeah,
Right,
it's weird when guys get mad at farts. Those are guys like you don't want to hang out with.
I wouldn't be like, I always thought I'd be friends with Jim Nantz. Like, he's so cool, so comfortable, so like that. Like, and if he's walking off because of a fart, like, I just don't know if that's my guy or not. I don't.
Yeah, you'd crack up on air and just laugh and punch him if you hit him in the balls or something. That's what a natural reaction would be.
Yes,
You certainly don't destroy a guy's career. You
Forever.
certainly don't get him taken off the air. You've been together. I don't know how long they were together, 12, 15 years or whatever. And can you be friends with a guy who ever thinks a fart isn't funny?
no,
No, absolutely not.
Right. The more inappropriate, the funnier it becomes. I was at a wedding one time where the little flower girl turned around and really loud in the church said to her dad, "Dad, pull my finger," and then cracked one off.
That's a Boston thing if I've ever heard it, by the way.
Absolutely. She's pure. She's got to be pure like Quincy, Mass, like the chicks in Ted.
Comes across the
like
Neponset.
Tammy Lynn.
Comes across the Neponset Bridge where Whitey buried a bunch of bodies underneath. Is that right? Do I have my facts right?
My last full-time job when I was doing Barstool on the side, I worked with a guy who was Whitey Bulger's next-door neighbor.
What?
Yep. It wasn't involved in that stuff.
Oh, yeah, of course not.
They were their doors were side by side in a duplex. He said, like, one time Whitey says to him one day, "Hey, when you guys come home tonight, use the back entrance." Okay. So they come back from the pub, totally hammered. They're walking up the steps and they see the light turned off above the door and they're like, "Oh, yeah." And they just walked around. Somehow avoided a life of crime living next to Whitey Bulger.
Hey,
I didn't know it was possible.
on that vein, Pat, Jared, what do you think about OJ's getting out soon? Don't you think we can get him as a guest?
We should be able to get him. He said he wants to get into podcasting and into the internet. I think whenever he visits with his family, they're like, "Oh, you'd be loved on the internet." And he came out swinging and said, "I'm going to do a podcast or an internet." He should definitely be on the show. The Juice should be on this show for sure, Jerry. I would love to hear the questions you would ask him. I would love to hear it.
Most of them would be Naked Gun in nature.
Great. What a guy, man. How high up? He was Peyton Manning, right? In popularity. He was in movies. He was in everything. He was Peyton Manning-esque of social clout. And then wham, murder.
Crossover appeal. He did more ads than Bill Cosby and Arnold Palmer combined. He was doing everything. I used to watch him, at the desk with Bob Costas on Sunday mornings and sit there and go, "Look at OJ. He looks like he could just throw on the helmet and pads right now and go on and get you like 80, 90 yards. I mean, it was impossible not to like. It just proves we know nothing about these guys.
It was easy. It was easy to hate him though there for a while. I think.
And you know what? Naked Gun is the best comedy trilogy of all time because it's hard to do a comedy sequel. You usually used up all the good ideas.
I'm like a midget at the urinal, always on my toes. It's one of my favorite lines.
Do you gamble, Lieutenant Drebin? Every time I order takeout.
Jesus.
And Nordberg was phenomenal, but I mean, can we get past that? I mean, some guys, their celebrity outlives their notorious nature. Like Mike Tyson went to jail for rape, and he's America's beloved funny uncle.
Yeah, and he's punching Hangover and movie like we love him. He's fun. He's a comedian now. He's like people laugh at him and with him. You're right. You're 100% right. That's very interesting.
Yeah, but that's the difference. Mike Tyson is like vulnerable and talks about his struggles and how rough it is. And if you saw the Juice on his parole hearing, he was the same old
no
Juice,
struggling.
Loving it, like just full sociopath.
I'll tell you what. People would say
I'm
I've lived a
enough to remember
violence-free
him.
life, he said. I've lived a violent-free life. I think I'm a role model. They call me uncle in here. I'm a dad. I run the shop. I do this. I'm like nothing is like OJ's never been caught up in any drama before. Nothing. Just completely. I don't even know if he knows that murder trial happened. I think he just erased it. Fucking gone. Yeah, I'm in here because I just tried to rob some people for my own stuff. Think about that. It's my own stuff. OJ's a lunatic.
I mean, it is crazy that he did 9 years for stealing back like bobbleheads that belonged to him. But then again, you've beat the rap on murder. You might want to just sort of retire your career. Go out a champion.
If he would have done it, remember how he would have done it. The book he wrote. Remember that?
Yes.
He wrote a fucking book. Listen, if I was going to murder somebody, I would have done it a lot better. I'm O.J. Simpson. Let's have a little bit of respect for me is basically what he said in that book. It was out of control.
Fellas, I'm old enough to remember when I was a kid, he played against the Patriots in a blizzard. And I mean, the field was a sheet of ice. Nobody could get footing. He ran for 258 yards.
Yikes.
And I remember thinking, he could get those gloves on his hand if his heart was really in it.
If you put a little grit in that thing. Those gloves fit, by the way. I looked at a picture whenever the parole thing. Like, I don't know, the social media wasn't around then because that shit would have got picked apart so quick. Those gloves fit. Like, I was looking at like that's just one little, just a little push, like just a little, it's in. I don't even understand what the hell's going on. I don't get it.
You know, and ironically, his acquittal was the last major victory for the Buffalo Bills. They now currently, and now that's my segue into this coming season because I want to talk about the teams before we get to the ones that we think are going to compete, the ones that are tanking as badly as they can possibly tank, including the Buffalo Bills. Their GM a couple of weeks ago was asked if he's tanking. First rule of being asked if you're tanking, if someone's asking you, you are tanking. Nobody gives the impression that they're tanking when they're trying to win. And they're jettisoning players like cargo from a plane that's starting to lose altitude. This guy got hired after the draft. Like, they kept their old GM on to conduct the draft and then fired him the next day. Like, what the actual fuck is going on in Buffalo? They have the longest streak without making it to the playoffs in North American pro sports.
That AFC East, I'll tell you what, that AFC East, when you're in there with the Patriots, I mean, it's a little fucking, it's a nightmare. Like, listen, we just got to restart from the beginning. We're watching this fucking Do Your Job Part 2. We ain't anywhere near any of that shit they're doing. We just got to fucking start. Hey, let's start over, cuz. That's what the Jets said. That's what the Bills are doing. And fucking the Dolphins just signed a commentator for to give him $10 million or $15 million. The Patriots just fucking blowing people's minds out of the back of their heads, just fucking minding a pretzel every single team. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Who's going to win it all, Jerry?
I mean, not to be a homer, but clearly the Patriots would be the favorite, right? I mean, there's a reason why you're hearing the expression Patriots problem. Does the league have a Patriots problem? I watched them discuss it on Inside the NFL. It was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Personally, I don't think they do. Nothing's guaranteed, and I think having a great team around is great for sports. I mean, look at the PGA Tour after Tiger retired. Do you watch golf nearly as much as you did before? No, I think it's great to have that dominant team because then the narrative becomes, can somebody knock them off?
AJ, who do you think?
Man, I mean, picking the Patriots out of the AFC, it's like picking Alabama in the college game. Everyone picks Alabama. And you're like,
I bet against them, though. I bet. Did you? I bet Florida State to cover, and they did not. This is my first time betting on foosball, by the way. I thought I was going to do great. I suck. I'm terrible.
Yeah, I think it seems pretty complicated. I haven't really dove in yet. But man, AFC I'd pick the Patriots to get there, and then the NFC I think it's between the Falcons and the Packers. Honestly, I know that was the NFC Championship game this last year. So, a little known fact. I don't know if I said on the last time. I was on the Falcons last year for 3 or 4 weeks.
What?
And
28-3, Jerry. Let them know. Let them know, Jerry.
Yeah. So I still got my 11th season. I got invested. They didn't need me. They didn't need me that whole time. Right? Well, I dressed one game, and then all their linebackers came back healthy, but they kept me. They're awesome, man. They kept me around for 3 weeks to get me a full season, and then
that's awesome.
After the first week, I'm like, everyone's back. Like, what am I doing here? Like, you guys are. I mean, this whatever, and then I got about 3.5 weeks, and then let me go. But it gave me a season. So but I'm telling you what, man, those dudes in Atlanta have studs every single play, everywhere you look. Both their linebackers run legit like 4.4s. Their safety, everyone is on fire. Matt Ryan was the MVP last year. Their offense has tons of studs everywhere you look. I would imagine we could easily see a rematch, Patriots Falcons.
I just think it's so hard after you lose the Super Bowl. I was a part of a team that lost the Super Bowl there my rookie year, and it's so different than every other season. You know, it was just so because your off season gets cut short because you play. Then you're, let alone the 28-3 catastrophe, the mental, emotional fucking roller coaster they've had. Now, granted, Matt Ryan has that Gatorade commercial where J.J. Watt's like, start as a walk-on. And Michael Jordan's like, get cut from your varsity team. And Matt Ryan, defeat.
Serena Williams, be part of the biggest upset.
Yeah, that's because you're the greatest, Serena. Yeah, if you lose, that's called an upset. We get it. But I think it's going to be tough for them to get back. I do think it's going to be very tough.
Speaking on that, it's definitely tough, but is it better to not go than to go and lose?
Yes, I think so. I agree. Because because you got the whole world watching you lose. Right? Not everybody watches the AFC Championship and NFC Championship. It's not the Super Bowl the Super Bowl is this fucking Super Bowl. So now you're at the peak climax, let alone if you're up 28-3. This is a dream come true. Holy fuck, I'm about to get a Super Bowl ring. And then the whole world just watch you blow it. 25 points. I mean, that's a hell of a hurdle to get over. I think it's going to be Packers-Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to make some plays. I think Marshawn Lynch edition is going to be gigantic. Although I do like Chris Hogan. I took him with my second pick in the fantasy draft because Julian Edelman goes down. I think 7-Eleven is going to get the rock in New England a lot. But I really like
Rex Burkhead. I'm telling you, don't sleep on Rex.
What the fuck's a Rex Burkhead?
Yeah, exactly.
All-purpose.
Perfect Patriots signing. He was in Cincinnati. Little deceptively super athletic guy that they know how to use him. He'll be big for you, Jerry.
That's what I said about Phil Dorsett too.
About who now?
Phil Dorsett. You guys just traded Jacoby Brissett for Phil Dorsett. Fast, and I've seen him in practice moss people. Like, people say he has bad hands in a game, but I've seen him in practice, like, make plays. And I don't know why he never transitioned to Sundays, but hopefully a restart with the Patriots will help. But the Raiders, I think, are going to be tough to handle. We played them Christmas Eve last year, the game Derek Carr got hurt or whatever, and his knee got twisted up. It was fucking a nightmare. But their team, that stadium, that team was just in tune. All three phases, they were good. I think they're going to be tough to beat. Add Marshawn Lynch, if he's just half of what he was before, that makes people keep people in the box. I think they might be a really good team. I think Oakland Raiders might be really good.
I don't know if I got them beating the Patriots, but I think they're going to be a contender. I think they're on the rise. I like Derek Carr. Khalil Mack is, all due respect to J.J. Watt, I think the best defensive player in the league right now. Certainly was last year. And I don't know, I'm supposed to hate Oakland, like I grew up hating them, but right now I'm not feeling it. They're like Cuba. It's like, you know that there was a time you hated them, but no one really is sure why. It was like during JFK era, and now they're just kind of there. You're
like, I don't know about the Oakland missile crisis anymore. I think I'm kind of past that whole goddamn thing. Some Bay of Pigs shit was mentioned. But you're 100% right, especially because the team's going to Las Vegas. Now you kind of feel bad for the Raiders fans, the black hole, which you never would have thought. You never thought you'd feel bad for the black hole. But now you're like, man, this passionate fan base, their team's finally getting good again. And then they're going to go to fucking Sin City. I really like what they're doing in Oakland. I like it a lot.
Who would have ever thought that Al Davis's kid, who really looks like he spends all day in his office, like with crayons and shit, and licks the window of the car, like that he pulled off a $2 billion deal. The pumpkin pie haircutted freak.
It's a weird haircut. It's a weird haircut, dude. Like, you're a billionaire. You got to know. You watch TV. Like, you got to know when you look in the mirror, like, hey, man, my shit looks fucked up. You got to know that. You have to.
He wears like the white jeans and white button down too, tucked in a lot.
Just doing whatever the fuck he wants. Billionaires, they got to have their own magazine. Like, how can I fucking look ridiculous?
And still get laid because I just cut a $2 billion deal with a city.
Good for them.
I love it. I'm psyched that they're going to Vegas. This bullshit about not allowing a team in a city because that city has legalized gambling. Well, okay, then how does that affect your team? What are you going to start throwing games? We live in an internet age. If you're in Oakland, you can wager on games the same as you can in a Vegas hotel.
AJ, I don't know how you were as a young player. Okay, I was a little bit wild. I had a good time. I don't know how 22, 23-year-olds going to be given a lot of money. And that's why I don't think Miami, Los Angeles, and Vegas, I don't think will ever have a winning team. I don't think they'll ever have a winning team unless they have like experienced old vets. They're the oldest team in the league. If you have young guys running around in Los Angeles, which is where all the Instagram models are, every club is trying to get you in everywhere. I don't know how you stay focused. If you're in Miami, same goddamn thing. I talked to Vontae Davis when he was down there. He was talking about how much fun they had in Miami. There's so many options. And now Las Vegas, you got to be fucking kidding me. From the cocktail waitresses in every single place to the deals that they're going to get, Vegas is one gigantic distraction. I don't know how it's going to work. You put me on one of them teams, I'm 23 years old. I mean, granted, I got arrested for an alleged event while I was intoxicated. But I don't even know if I show up. I don't even know if I'd make it on Sunday. I have no fucking idea.
No, you're definitely going to lose a few guys each year.
Yes.
Like it's a couple studs, that young dudes that come out and realize like, oh wait, I don't have to go to like study table in the morning before school and everything. I'm kind of they leave the facility at 4:35 p.m. on Thursday, and they have nobody to answer to until 8:00 meeting the next morning. Yeah, there's some stuff's going to happen.
There's some shit that's going to happen.
What about the schedule of the road team? Do they come in and have enough time to get into trouble? I would just think that they would lead the league in visitor hangovers, but
not anymore, man. Jerry, it's a whole different league now. We always, because you always hear stories about guys going out and getting into shit and stuff like that. What's his face got a prostitute? The FCA guy, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes guy, got before the Super Bowl. That stuff doesn't happen anymore. Everything's so regulated. We show up, we get there. You have like 2 hours to get dinner. Then you have a special teams meeting, then a team meeting, then a snack, then your sleep, it's like everything's so regulated.
You bed check. They knock on your door.
Yeah, it's like a kid's camp. You got to make sure you're in bed. Like, you're an adult, 29 years old. Are you still like Vinatieri gets bed check? Vinatieri is 40 plus years old, and he has some guy knock on his door and goes, "Adam, I'm here." Think about that. It's all because
that's exactly how it sounds.
Yeah, Adam, hi, I'm here, guys. Thanks. Just gonna be the all-time leading scorer. I have 3 kids. I don't need you fucking checking my door to see if I'm asleep or not. But that's what happens because back in the day they ruined it.
So that's why Jimmy Johnson is one of my spirit animals, because during the Cowboy days, he said, I told my players, I want you in bed at 11 o'clock. I don't care whose bed you're in.
A bed.
I don't care who you're with. I just want you in bed.
That White House they used to have in the back of the property, I've heard some great stories about that. AJ, you ever heard any stories about that?
Yeah, man. The dude that I've talked to the guy that wrote that book, Jerry, what's his name?
Oh, yeah. I know the book, but
Boys Will Be Boys. I can't think of his name.
Those dudes used to live back then.
Oh, doing lines off the small of the back of a $500 a night hooker, and
right by the practice facility, right behind the practice facility. Like, we'll just roll over to work in the morning. Not a big deal.
Well, that's when men were men. They could go do that, and then they weren't going to be late. They weren't going to be late. They're going to show up, and that's what they say. Hey, be a pro. And like that's why there's crazy stories about Michael Irvin doing that. He could go out all night, and then he'd be killing everybody in practice the next day, and he'd be super pissed if a guy was ever late or couldn't go hard in practice, because Michael's like, look at me, man. Nobody goes out harder than me, and I'm out here killing you dudes. So that's like that generation's dead, man. Pat,
I disagree.
They're not around anymore.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I was about to say, I thought I carried the torch there for a little bit. I felt pretty good about me there for a while, but you're right. It's hard to find those guys anymore.
They don't make them anymore, man. When I got to college, my freshman year, we won the national championship, and our senior and junior class at the time, like that was like the last group of men. Like those dudes lived, and I'd show up like an 18-year-old fresh-faced kid, show up to like a little, like, hey, why don't you come over and have a little party? And he'd show up, and it was like a movie. Like, what was all the stuff that's happening? I couldn't believe it. And these dudes were wild, but then they were absolute monsters on the field. And I respect them, man. I love it. I can't hang on.
Hey, that's that Ohio State money there. You hear that? Parties were like a movie. You know what the parties was like at West Virginia, Jerry? We had a fucking keg in a garbage can and some fucking jungle juice in a garbage bag. That's like a movie at Ohio State. Get the fuck out of here.
AJ, were you able to do that? Were you able to hit it that hard and function the next day yourself, or?
No, I mean, obviously it was a lot easier when I was 21 compared to being 33 years old now. But no, I wasn't like them, like that class. Those guys they lived, man, and they could do it with zero sleep, barely, and show up. Bowl practice is always a big time when you go out, because you're always entertaining recruits when they come in town, and then you have to get up and pound on each other at practice the next day. But no, I was never a guy that I could suck it up. I would never miss anything, but I could never go as hard as they could.
Right. Not to mention, Pat, all those Ohio State guys have the heavy class load.
Yeah, super educated.
You're in all those AT
you guys don't
classes.
realize, hey, we got screwed. Katzenmoyer screwed us, and I know Andy, he's a great dude. if you remember, Jerry, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. It said Ohio State is #1 with an asterisk if Katzenmoyer makes the grades. Wow. Ever since then, the players get like reverse. They go after you hard, a lot harder than other people because they think you're a football player. You're just going to take it easy. I had the worst. I graduated, and it was such a pain. I was going to classes. I would have teachers that try to fail me when I would have to take 2 days off to go to the combine and come back, and these people are telling me I can't make up a test I missed or I can't write an extra credit paper. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. And then I get drafted, and I'm still in school and have to go to class, and they would go on top of it because they don't want to look like they're given preferential treatment.
That's why I always said you can make $0 in that classroom. Fuck it. That's why I left, Jerry.
And Katzenmoyer's parents were both professors too, right? But they even came out and said, well, we don't care. He's a football player.
Yeah, why do they care? Like, look at why does it matter? Guys, like basketball players go to school for like one semester and then go to the NBA. Like they're not ever going to graduate. Who cares? It's a stupid situation happening right now.
Yeah. And if you are a guy and you're looking to make a few bucks for yourself, I've got just the place to do it. And who isn't? That place is betdsi.com. Oh. Pat, you were talking about making some wagers earlier?
Yeah, I was. I was like, hey, Jerry, I need to make some wagers. And you were like, I got it.
Yeah, and there are places that maybe you can go to that aren't that trustworthy. These guys have been in business for 20 years.
Wow.
Paying winners. That's what they do. They've got an A+ rating on the sportsbook review sites. You can use your sports knowledge to make some extra cash. They're easy-to-use mobile playing interface, which is amazing. You play, you win, you get paid. It's as simple as that. Get this, guys. They've got BetDSI offers odds on everything from football, including live betting and props as the games are in action. Because, like you got a game, you have no chance of winning, it's halftime. They just continue to pump out props. So
more bets, make more money. That's all I hear right there, Jerry.
Yep. And it's not just on football. They also do all of the major sports, politics, reality TV. Huge in my world. If they're doing Survivor, guess what I'm going to be doing?
And if they're doing Real Housewives, guess what I'm going to be betting on?
Bam.
Yup. Wives.
Or Life of Kylie.
Oh, you watch that?
No, but it looks horrendous.
I bet it. I'm going to put a bet on it is. Can I bet that? Can I bet that it is horrendous?
Check that out, Jared. Jared, dial it up.
Yeah, I think you're going to get even money on that. Now, use the promo code LACESOUT25 and get a $25 free wager just for registering. If you decide to deposit that, you will get a $200 bonus match on all your money.
Yikes.
I play there myself. I recommend it to you guys. Bet DSI if you want a little excitement to the games you are watching. Once again, go to betdsi.com and use promo code LACESOUT25. Get a free $25 wager on the house and a 200% extra bonus when you deposit. That's LACESOUT25 to get your free wager and start winning today. And you know what? I haven't talked enough about our social media, by the way. Everybody should get on at Laces Out Show, both on Twitter and on Instagram. AJ doesn't do Instagram.
AJ, how do you feel about Instagram, AJ?
Okay, so Jerry got me on an email. Jerry said I can post this on my MySpace. I don't know. Maybe I just put on my AOL Instant Messenger as well.
Oh, you remember the little way before emojis and Bitmojis, you used to be able to pick a little guy that represented you on the AOL Instant Messenger. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Yeah.
Little Avi?
Yeah. Yeah, my guy always said, like, party on or something like that. Like, just want to put out the vibe in the AOL, you know what I mean? Hey, we're here to have a good time. Let me ask you to a dance real quick on AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah, Jerry, I know you're I'm basically older than you. I have an Instagram account that I think there's one post from like 4 years ago that I just reserved the same name that I have on Twitter. So maybe I'll tune that thing up.
Please, and get on the Laces Out Show Instagram as well, but they're doing a bang up job. I looked the other day, within 24 hours we were up over like 9,000 followers. So
look at us.
Built that. Yeah,
if we put a couple pictures of AJ's hair on Instagram,
I'll show you my wolf shirt, Pat.
I saw your wolf shirt. I like that. You're a one-man wolf back over there, and I respect that.
And if we do, I promise I will get me in the pool. I will take a picture of myself from this summer in the pool. That's a little something for the ladies.
Let me get that tiger hog in there too, Jerry. Sex sells.
In fairness, AJ, you're not missing a ton on Instagram. It really is It's a road game for guys. It is the home court of hot chicks. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing but pictures of, it's meant for sorority parties and celebrity chicks. It's really for Kate Beckinsale, not for me.
Jerry's doing Instagram a lot different than, I mean, you don't have to do Instagram that way, AJ, just for future reference. Like, it doesn't just have to be sorority girls and celebrity chicks. There's other things on there, too. There's a lot of entertaining shit on Instagram. But
if you're a moderately attractive college girl on Instagram, everything you post is going to get 600 likes minimum. If you're famous, everything you do is going to get 600,000.
Very simple to get famous if you're an attractive female. Very simple to get famous on Instagram.
And then you sell like protein powders and different shakers and workout stuff, right?
Yep. It's a hustle. Everything's a hustle.
The last I saw, Selena Gomez had the most followers, and she was making something like $250,000 every time she posts an ad.
Yeah, not bad. Hey, AJ, that could be you on Instagram, making $250,000 a post, just like Selena Gomez. That could be you, but you're not.
It could. If I could post some pictures of Jerry in the pool, maybe I'll get there.
Get some photos of you with the top knot.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. I need to grow it out. I need to grow this out and get a little top knot. You're right.
Just want you to know I'm paying attention. I'm taking notes over here. I'm never going to call it a man bun in your presence again.
True pro.
You will kill me through Skype.
Hey, I appreciated the hell out of you guys, man. This is an incredible conversation. I can't wait to keep this going.
Same here. Anything that anyone want to throw a challenge flag, something we missed, something you wanted to chime in on that we forgot about?
I think the Steelers' offense is going to be one of the most impressive things on earth this year. I think Martavis Bryant is going to blow up. I think Antonio Brown is not going to be able to get double-teamed. I think he's going to be huge again. Le'Veon Bell is going to have another gigantic season because he needs 17 M's because 26 is a savage. Is a rap song he put out in his front yard last week. I think the Steelers' offense is going to be something to behold this year, and I'm excited to watch it.
I'm going to throw in that Le'Veon Bell is a hamstring pull waiting to happen. There's a reason. Every time a guy holds out, he ends up pulling hammies. And he's the best or second best running back in the league, but I think they're going to lose him. And Roethlisberger looks 50 years old and 50 pounds overweight.
And he has for the past 10 years. He's looked the same way for the past 5 to 10 years. Never changes. You see him at a bar, you think it's just some uncle guy, just this big, gigantic uncle that should not be playing anywhere. And then he goes out on the field and just throws the ball over the yard. I'm excited to watch the Steelers.
I mentioned I like the Pats in the AFC. NFC, I think I'm going with Dallas. AJ, I disagree with you on Atlanta because I think mentally blowing that lead is messing with them. I've been writing about this all summer. Between Dan Quinn saying we're going to embrace the suck and then Matt Ryan saying I'm going to – he said he was going to deal with this the way I deal with bad things, which is just push them way down until it comes out in a road rage incident and I throw a bourbon bottle through a windshield or whatever. But then he does the Gatorade ad just to remind himself of it. I don't know. I think that team – and, yes, they are not only super talented, they're really young. They've got a butt ton of second and third year players on their defense.
There you are with that butt stuff. There you are with that butt stuff again. And
I live in mortal fear of the New York Giants all the time. Not just because Steve Spagnuolo is a very, very good coordinator and Janoris Jenkins might be the most underrated corner in the league. I've got a mental issue with them. They are the clown in my storm drain.
It's the helmet catch, bro.
That, and then the same thing happened a few years later. The Giants put together 2 good months in 9 years, and they cost the Patriots championship.
Stole all your happiness.
That's my fucking waking steps.
Oh, hilarious. AJ, what do you got to close out on?
Nothing. I want to I'd make a vote that we don't throw a challenge flag at the end of every episode, Jerry.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that. No offense, Jerry. Don't mean to hurt your feelings, but I feel like we're above that.
All right.
Don't you, Pat? We're above like the cheesy, corny
Jerry,
football reference.
Do not let him get away with this. He just won for your fucking head right there. Jerry, he just won for your fucking head.
I know. I'm like a guy in a bar in a John Wick movie.
He did. He just won for your head.
My blades are all over the wall.
No offense, Jerry, but I can't do it. I don't have any teams for you. I have no challenge flags to throw.
It was not contrived. It was just me speaking extemporaneously. Now, having said that, I'm all about that. We're not here to defend democracy. We're here to practice it. You don't want any of those cheesy references.
say like just any final thoughts, guys. That's all you got to do.
I'll do Jerry's thoughts. And then at the end, we'll come out with our paternity test.
Deal, Jerry. You know I love you, Jerry.
This is great, man. This is gonna be a friggin' fun season. Again, these are gonna drop every Monday morning, and follow us on @Laces Out Show. You're at official AJ Hawk.
Correct.
And at Pat McAfee Show. I'm at Jerry Thornton 1. So guys, this was a blast. I can't wait for next Monday.
Me neither. Cheers, boys.